program today where we go through the National Register for Sex Offenders and we tell you what this really is about. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have today with a number of leading dignitaries. We have your principal, Mr. Richard Case, and we are very grateful, sir, for you hosting us today. Thank you. We also have other dignitaries, Mr. Andries Nel, he'll wave to you right now. He's our Deputy Minister. You can give him a round of applause, colleagues. And we have the provincial head of the Department of Justice. He's Mr. Rodney Isaacs. Seated on my extreme right, that will be Ms. Sarita Nilraj. She's from the National Prosecuting Authority. You know the NPA? Lovely. So also now from SAPS, we've got a very big deal here from SAPS today, and that is Lieutenant General Trevor Nash. He's from the FCS unit. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our dignitaries we have here for you today. We're now going to have the commencement of our program. We're going to have our official opening and welcome done by Mr. Richard Case. And as I've earlier mentioned, he's the principal of our high school here at Princeton. And colleagues, did you know Mr. Case has been an educator for over 35 years? Isn't that awesome? So I can see you quite excited to welcome him, colleagues. So I now call upon Mr. Richard Case, who will be doing the opening and welcome.
Thank you, Program Director, Ms. Singh. Good morning, everybody. Mr. Andries Nel, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, the delegates of other government departments here, our fellow principals, our members of school governing bodies, representatives of teacher trade unions, civil society partners, and most importantly, our learners from all schools invited to this first National Register of Sex Offenders and Sexual Offence Awareness session. At Princeton High, a school in an impoverished community with huge challenges, we believe that a safe learner is an empowered learner. When children feel secure, they are free to focus on learning, growing, and reaching their full potential. Our learners are the heart of our schools. They are the future leaders, professionals, innovators, and obviously we all are citizens of South Africa. Their development is directly linked to the safety and security of the environments in which they learn. So, welcome to Princeton High School. We are honored to host you, and we look forward to a meaningful and impactful session. We hereby open this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Case. We really do feel welcome after that rousing opening of our program today. So we are going to go to the next aspect, which is the singing of our national anthem. Now, as you know, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a very hard-won national anthem in our country. We have this anthem after us having years of struggle against apartheid. I'd like to call upon one of our students here to lead us in singing of the national anthem. Can I have a volunteer from the crowd? Okay, I see you're very shy. So, who is it? Okay, the principal has said, Nkosi Nati.
Good morning. 1, 2. Good morning, everyone. Deputy Minister, Mr. Kais. Can we all please stand on our feet? Sisi keleli Afrika malupakanyi suvololwayo iswali mitanda so Yesu kosi sikelela tina lusapulwayo morena beluke sichaya sha Yesu utweni sedintwa wela swel usubuluke su sibuluke sichabasa Yesu sichabasa South Africa, South Africa. I die blauw van onze jammer, uit die diepte van ons Heer, oor ons ewige gebergtes, waar die kranse antwoord gee. So to call to come together and united we shall stand. Let us love and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
Thank you so much, Karsanati. You really have put us in the spirit of South Africa. Well done. We have also distinguished guests here that are seated in our crowd, which is our principals and deputy principals of our high school. Please raise and wave to the crowd as well. Oh, okay, she hasn't raised, but they are waving to you, so that's fine. We have community leader, Mr. Reginald Rorick. So thank you for joining us today. This year is a very important year. And do you know why that is? We are celebrating the the 30th anniversary of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. And this is a very important document because this is the document that gives you your rights as citizens of our land. And it affirms all your democratic values of human dignity, equality, and freedoms. And these are rights that have been very hard earned in our country. So, as you are aware, this is a constitution that has come into effect after the change to our democratic South Africa. And what is encompassed in our constitution is the rights of our most vulnerable people of South Africa. So we hereby call upon Wandiso Kwababana, who will come forward. Now he's going to recite the preamble to the Constitution. He is our ASD in the Department of Justice who deals with the National Register for Sex Offenders. So the process will be very simple. He's going to read 1 or 2 lines, and then you are going to recite that after him. Will that be okay? Perfect. Thank you so much. Put your hands together for Wandiso Kwababana.
Thank you, Program Director. Can I please stand this side? I don't want to give my back to the Deputy Minister and the distinguished guests. Can we please stand up? I'm informed that within your packs, you have a booklet of this that looks like this. So it will actually be advisable that we open it and then we're going to recite the preamble. You can open inside, and this is how it looks like. Are we all there? Can I be out of order a bit and ask for all of us to read together? I will lead. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. United in our diversity, we therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, so as to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equal, protected by law. Improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person, and build a united and democratic South Africa able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. May God protect our people. Nkosi sikelele Afrika, Morena buluka setjhaba sa Yesu, God sien South Africa. God bless South Africa. Mudzimu fatuchetsa Afrika, Hosi katekisa Africa. One constitution, one nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Luandiso. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and our learners. You may be seated. So we're now going to move on to the next part of our program, which is the significance of the day. My provincial head of the Department of Justice, Mr. Rodney Isaacs, will be presenting this particular aspect. Now, Mr. Rodney Isaacs is the provincial head for the Western Cape, but from all the provincial heads across the country, he is the longest standing serving provincial head in this country. Did you know that? So you're very blessed to have this very humble, very public, committed, serving provincial head with us who puts the interests of the public first. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Rodney Isaacs.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Minister, Principal, dignitaries, principals, staff of the school governing body, members, students, teachers. Good morning, goeiemôre, molweni. I can go on to the other 8 languages, but I'm going to take a bit of time. It's both an honor and a privilege to address you today as we gather to reflect on the significance of this important day. And it is an important day. You will see how it unfolds now. The occasion is not merely a ceremonial event in our calendar. It is also a moment of reflection, celebrate success, and recommitment to the creation of a safe space for all vulnerable persons within our community. Emphasis on safe space. Today we should be reminded of the foundational principles upon which our democracy is built, pertaining to human dignity, number 1, safety and the rule of law. These ideals must not be written only in books that we read. They are living principles that guides how we treat one another, how we govern, and how we shape the future of our country. The reading of the preamble earlier is a powerful reminder that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in the diversity, and it calls upon us to establish our society of all and for all. As the Department of Justice, we recognize the school as not only centers of learning, but also spaces where constitutional values must be lived on a daily basis. In our classrooms, learners must respect, accountability, and inclusion. Educators carry the important responsibility of nurturing informed, responsible, and active citizens. The parents play a very important role in ensuring that children are safe at all times. So to our learners, you are the custodians of our democracy. Understanding your rights is important, but equally important is understanding your responsibilities. Respecting others, discipline, integrity, and active participation in building safe communities are essential to sustaining our constitutional democracy. So this day challenges all of us, government, educators, parents, and learners, to recommit ourselves to ensure that a safe environment for children in our school is realizable. Finally, let us leave here today inspired to uphold the values we have reflected upon. Let us continue working together to build schools that are safe, inclusive, and empowering. And let us strive in our respective roles to contribute to a just and prosperous South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Isaacs. Colleagues, we have noted an apology from Ms. Kwazi's Union Satu, who has indicated to us she had a family emergency. However, we're going to move on to our next speaker. That's Ms. Sarita Nilraj. Ms. Nilraj is the senior public prosecutor that deals with all of our criminal matters in Mitchells Plain and Khayelitsha. So she oversees all the prosecutors in those different courts. So today she's going to discuss with us understanding statutory rape, sexting, and sexual intimidation. Now, this is especially important because, as we know, we all have cell phones, don't we? And there's lots of different aspects that we may meet up with different people, and they may put us in various circumstances. So, Ms. Nilraj is here today to teach us all the hazards of this so we can guard against it and we can ensure that our friends and colleagues don't become victims to all these people out there who wish to have harm against you. So I'm now going to call upon Ms. Nilraj, who is going to come forward and discuss this very important matter with us. Sarita?
Deputy Minister Nel, Mr. Isaacs, dignitaries, principals, teachers, governing bodies, and most importantly, the young minds with us today. Good morning and welcome to this session. You've been introduced to what the role I play, but what is a prosecutor? Who is a prosecutor? In a little nutshell, a prosecutor is a lawyer for the people. So when you are a victim in court, when you're a victim and you come to court, it is the prosecutor who then starts taking care of you. It is the prosecutor who fights for your rights. It is the prosecutor who ensures that justice is got for you at the end of the day and the perpetrator, the wrongdoer, the accused is put away. So that is what we do at court. It's nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to be afraid of those big gowns and the bibs we wear. Underneath it all, we're just humble people out here to help you move on and become better adults and rule our country with dignity in the future. So basically, who is an adult? When do we become adults? The South African law says 18 years old. So if you are below 18, you're still a child. Okay? And that is most of you still at school are children. And that is why you, 16 and below, are vulnerable to an offense called statutory rape. What is statutory rape? Statutory rape is when a child is sexually violated. All right? Now, and violation does not mean rape itself, which is sexual penetration. It could mean any other acts of sexual violation, like touching, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable in a sexual connotation. Okay? And if you are 16 and below, then you are a victim. Now, from the ages of birth to 12 years, we are called dolus inca pax. That means we cannot give consent. Even if we go to the guy and we tell this person, have sex with me, I want you, do this to me. It is an offense if you are violated in any way because you cannot give consent. From 12 years one day until 16 years old, you're still a child and cannot give consent. Even if you say yes, but you still cannot give that consent, but that case can go to court and it can be tried because he may have a defense like he didn't know your age and all of these factors. However, so now that we've established who is an adult, so when an accused, remember, you could also be an accused if you're below 16. Children, we have the Child Justice Act 75 of 2008, but I'm not going to quote these things because I'm here to speak to an impressionable young mind. So I'm going to tell you what's going to reach out to your mind. Okay, so we have this Child Justice Act that protects youth. But the Child Justice Act also says that youth can be punished, and it sets out punishment for the youth as well. So if you commit this crime and you're 12 years and below, then it is said that you don't have criminal capacity. Between 12 and 14, you have to go to a group of psychologists that sit at Lentegeur Hospital, and then they will determine if you have criminal capacity or not, and whether you should be tried for the offense. But if you're between 14 and 16, then only if an application is made by the court to say you don't have criminal capacity, that will send you through. So that's if you're the victim, the accused. The victim, I've said, 16 and below, you're a child. No one can touch you in any way that you're not happy with. We're going to have a case open. There's Colonel over there, and his department will take care of you. And the penalties, and okay. Let us go on to sexting. Now this, I was very intrigued with this. And all of you out there should listen to this very carefully. Do you know what sexting is? Does anybody understand the term sexting? It is sext and text, makes sexting. Sexting is an act of sending, now just remember these words carefully, no? Sending, receiving, forwarding sexually implicit messages, photos, videos, or those cam movies that you take. All right. Now just remember my age. I look young, I'm not too with it with all these social media things. So if I make a mistake, forgive me. And what devices do we use? We use cell phones, we use digital apps, we use computers and webcams and all those cyber things that you guys just know so well. Okay, so basically it can involve words, photos, or videos. Let me give you a few examples of sext. A message or a post written with a sexual language. Nude, semi-nude photos or videos of sexual acts, live chats on webcam involving sexual acts, and where you screenshot and you save these pictures or these explicit acts where that's recorded and kept on webcams and stuff like that. All right, now just remember basically, so what I'm saying here, to bring it down locally, so your boyfriend or girlfriend asks you to send a pic of yourself, explicit pic of yourself. And we're in a relationship and everyone's doing it. It's like so cool, it is so in, it's like so 67, let me do this. Guys, do you know that you've just committed a criminal offense? Well, if you didn't, now you do. The very fact that you're a minor and you have in your possession any of these, as I said, the pictures, the videos, whatever, of any explicit sexual act, you are guilty of a crime. No saying I'm a minor. And okay, this is another thing you must bear in mind. If you're in a habit of taking pics of yourself nude and keeping it on your cyber information mechanisms, stop. Because if you're found with it, you're guilty of being in possession or creating these images. And that is an offense, and you can be charged. And I'm going to tell you what the penalties are, all right? Remember also, wait, I mustn't deviate now. I must keep in track with what I said I was going to share with you. Now remember that if you share these things, so now you've received a picture from your girlfriend, and you kept it and looked at it every day, and then you break up, and then you're angry, and then you want to do revenge porn. Then you decide, I'm going to send this to everybody on social media. That is called revenge porn. And that has a penalty clause, another word for penalty clause. You guys can go to prison or face 30,000 rand or 4 years imprisonment for every pic you have. So just be careful. Now, if you share it, you can be charged with distributing. Then there's a Forms and Publications Act and the Cyber Act that comes into operation. So if you have it and you share it, you have it, it's possession and creating it. If you send it, it's distributing. Separate offense on its own. Okay, guys? So it's really very, very serious. And you know, sharing these naked pics or sexually implicit information is abusive. It's a major violation of trust. So, I mean, think of the other person. You know, we've had so many cases where when children are faced with the school children from this area, and they actually become suicidal, or they do commit suicide because a picture went out there. So you must always think about the consequences of what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I know all you bright minds out here are listening to me, and you're going to share this information with your fellow colleagues when you speak about it, because many of us don't know and we don't think we're committing a crime. So, and yeah, I did tell you that even if the image was created by the taker and the taker is a minor, it is still an offense. So basically, if you're an adult and you consent and you're happy, and that's fine. But where you're a minor, you cannot. So you as a minor cannot keep nudies of yourself. Okay? Criminal offense. Just remember that. The penalty, I did tell you all what you all will get. And remember, we have a Child Justice Act I told you about? And that act also says that there can be imprisonment for children between the age of 12 and 16 if they are caught with these sexual violating information on any of their devices, or even printed pictures, or basically if you just found in possession of matters of stuff that is actually pornographic. Now, what happens if you're in this situation? Now there is a pic of yours, and it's gone viral. What do you do? Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do. It's out there. It's out there. And even this WhatsApp, you know, WhatsApp has this new thing about disappearing messages. It drives me crazy. I don't like this disappearing messages. But do you know you're not safe if you send it on WhatsApp with a disappearing message? Let me tell you why. Somebody screenshot that and saved it. And the message can disappear, but that saved screenshot can always go viral again. So there is just, okay, look, we have some legal avenues like Section 20 of the Cybercrimes Act says you can go to court and you can apply for the order to the electronics communication people. Just say you would, let me put it in your, the way you would understand it. Just say you are, the message went out on Facebook. So you can actually, the court can make or you can ask the court to make an order for the service who posted it, which is Facebook, to remove or disable access of this. But as I've said, it's gone out there. And you guys know of the dark web? You've heard of the dark web? Now let me tell you, if these pictures get into the dark web, an innocent picture can be turned into a whole big pornographic slideshow with your face on it. And at the end of the day, from that dark web to get it out is basically impossible. So you must always think about our action. I did speak to you about cyberbullying, where people, eventually minors feel so intimidated by somebody threatening them. I have your pic. You've still got to go out with me. You've still got to have sex with me. You've still got to give me money. You've still got to... And children are young and impressionable and scared. And they just carry on into this web of being abused. But that is not how we should be. You must report it. You must speak to someone you trust. Sometimes it's not easy to speak to your parents. We know that. But speak to an adult you trust, because there is a way out. You don't have to carry this burden on your own. You're still children. Enjoy it. So what do you do if you get a text, a sex text? Number one, Do not share. Never forward that image. Block, delete. Remember these words? Block, delete. So what you're going to do when you receive this unsolicited message, you're going to block that sender, you're going to delete the image, and then tell an adult you trust that this is what happened, and then we can go forward from there. A lot of these sexting things leads to intimidating. I'm not going to go on there. You know when you're intimidated, I have your pick. Come, you must pay me 10,000. Pay me this. Basically, the important thing about these intimidation is you must keep screenshots of all the messages because it will help us in court to prove the case. But the best rule is to not involve yourself in this. Delete everything that comes on social media that you're not comfortable with, that is too sexually implicit for you. Do not get involved in it. And I think abstinence is the best. Ladies and gentlemen, children, thank you for bearing with me. If you have any questions, principal, if you want to invite us, we'd go out to schools, we address schools, we have projects where our court prep officers and our prosecutors in the sexual offences section come out and educate children of different ages from grade R all the way to matric on different levels of types of sexual abuse that goes on in the community, what you should be aware of, what you should listen out for. So we at the National Prosecuting Authority are open to educate you, to help you, and to direct you, and to ensure that our old age is well looked after by you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nilraj. As you've heard today very clearly from Ms. Nilraj, there are consequences to our action. So if any of us have been taking these photographs, have been sending it out, communicating on social media in this manner, let's think about it again. And you are aware of what penalties you will face. There is criminal convictions, etc. So boys and girls, this is something that we must be very mindful of. And share this with our colleagues that we see going astray as well. Our next speaker today is Colonel Trevor Nash from the Family Violence, Sexual Offences and Child Protection Unit, which we call the FCS. And he's from the South African Police Services. So he's going to take you through the pathway. So over to you, Colonel.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Deputy Minister, Principal, all dignitaries. Okay, like I explained, FCS stands for Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences. We are a specialized unit in the South African Police Service. We explicitly deal with all rape cases, sexual offences. So all cases reported at station level of a sexual nature, we will be contacted. We will be sending out one of our detectives. We will ensure that the victim gets medical treatment at the local Tutuzela Center. We will then also ensure that guide the victim through the process of the court proceedings, ensure that they are getting enough counseling. We also deal with the little children, the 3-year, 4-year, 5-year-old children. We do have a forensic social worker on duty by our unit. Those kids, a lot of times, do not know what happened to them, and they don't understand that what happened to them was wrong. Those forensic social workers will guide us in formulating the charges and also assessing the child and to ensure that the child is ready to testify in court. Our unit has also got a separate section, the Serial Electronic Crimes Investigation Unit, which explicitly deals with child pornography, dealing with all these cell phone, like Ms. Nilrath's explained, all these explicit photos that's being circulated. We are separate from the normal detectives. We are sitting totally separate. I am the unit commander of Mitchell's Plain FCS. In front of me is Lieutenant Colonel Taylor from Nyanga FCS. There is 25 units in the Western Cape. We cover everyone about 4 or 5 police stations, some even more. So there is always a detective on standby. It is under the criminal law, the Sexual Offences Related Matters Amendment Act. It is a responsibility of all teachers, parents, all caregivers, if they suspect any sexual offense, to immediately report it. We will then assess and ensure that the medical treatment statements are taken and ascertain if a sexual offense has been committed. Any adult that does not report it is opening them up for a criminal charge. Those parents or people that know that there's a sexual offense occurring at a residence and not reporting are opening it up for a sexual offense. My unit is situated at close to the police station, next to the SASA building. For any of the students that feel, listen, they want more information or they got something to report, you're more than welcome to come to my unit. I will also be available afterwards to supply my contact number. Please do not keep it inside. Do not keep it for yourself. Report. That is the only way we will be able to assist you and arresting the perpetrator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colonel. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the most important aspect of today. That is our keynote address by the Deputy Minister of Justice, Mr. Andries Nel. He has actually been I'm going to give you one very interesting fact of Mr. Nel. Remember the Constitution that we read out earlier today? Mr. Nel is one of the drafters of that Constitution. So we have a very important person with us here today. He's asked me not to do an introduction, so I'm going to hand you over to our Deputy Minister, Mr. Nel.
Thank you very, very much, Program Director, and a very, very good morning to all. And in particular, I want to greet the parents and the members of school governing bodies. I want to greet the representatives of our different educators' unions. I want to greet and welcome the officials from the Western Cape, Department of Education, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, Social Development, South African Police Services, and the National Prosecuting Authority. I think the very, very fact that we're coming here as different departments and also departments from national and provincial is a very clear indication that as government, we stand united in ensuring that you, as the learners of our country, are able to learn in an environment that is safe and secure. And the most important guests here today are, of course, yourselves as the learners from different schools. I'm very, very happy to be here at Princeton High. When I walked through the front door, I read your vision and mission. That mission says that the mission of Princeton High is to nurture future leaders who will inspire through innovation while upholding and promoting the spirit of Ubuntu. Is that correct? Mr. Keis, is that indeed the mission of Princeton? And if it is, then I think we're at the right place. Because your story, both at Princeton and all of the other schools represented here today, is in many ways the story of our country, the story of South Africa. You face many challenges at home, you face challenges at school, you face challenges in your neighborhood and your community. But by working together as learners, teachers, and parents, you're overcoming these challenges, and you're succeeding, and you're striving for excellence. 3 years ago, the pass rate at Princeton High School stood at 61%. That's a pass, but it's not great. A year later, that had increased to 68%. And last year, through your hard work, the hard work of your teachers, and the support of your parents, that pass rate shot up to 75%. I think you deserve a big round of applause. "75% in my day," and that was many years ago, that was a distinction. But I'm told the distinction is now 80. But hopefully, by the time next year comes, Princeton and all of the other schools would have gone even higher. We opened today's event by reciting the preamble to the Constitution of the Republic. I think it was very, very important that we did so. And I really hope that you continue with that practice and that tradition. Every time you are together in class, every time you're together in assembly. It's important because last night, when our President Cyril Ramaphosa, was delivering the State of the Nation address, and I hope that many, if not all of you, watched the State of the Nation address. The President said the following. I just want to tell you again what he said last night. He said 30 years ago, in 1996, the Constitutional Assembly adopted the text on which our democratic nation was formed. Our Constitution reflects the spirit of the woman who marched to the Union buildings in 1956, and very importantly, the young people of 1976, and the many South Africans from all walks of life who fought for our freedom. It's a constitution that reflects the aspirations of the people of South Africa for a nation that is united and at peace, a nation that has thrown off the shackles of oppression and a divided past. It's a constitution that calls on us not only to redress the injustices of the past, but progressively to realize the right of all South Africans to housing, to health care, to food, to water, to social security, education, and a better and a prosperous life for all. Today, we must realize these aspirations in a world that is rapidly changing, a world in which narrow self-interest has replaced the common good, a world in which trade is used as an instrument of coercion, a world in which might is right and the powerful impose themselves on the weak. To navigate this world, this new world, we must draw on our strength as a nation. Our strength comes from our values, the values of dignity and equality, of non-racialism and non-sexism, diversity and the inherent worth of every person. It comes from our people, from our tolerance, generosity, kindness, and solidarity. It comes from our steadfast commitment to upholding the rights and affirming the dignity of people in our society who face prejudice and discrimination, including persons with disabilities and members of the LGBTQI+ community. It comes from our strength. Our strength comes from our determination and resolve. It comes from our creativity and inspiration. Our strength comes from our natural endowments, from the minerals in our earth and the richness of our soil, from the beauty of our mountains and shores. Our strength comes from our institutions, which are robust and independent, and from the spirit of democracy and freedom that lives deep within us. Our strength and power comes from one another, even as we may differ on various issues. Close quote. That is what the President told us last night about our Constitution, about our nation, where we are, the world we live in, the values that we hold dear, and what we must do together as South Africans. And you learners are not just preparing for the future. You are the future. And your commitment to learning today builds the South Africa of tomorrow. And that is why we, as government, need to make sure that every child is protected, that every child is cared for, and that every child can thrive. But we also know that children and the schools they attend are not isolated islands. They're part of our society. They affect society, and society affects them. And that's why, again, I want to repeat what our President told the nation last night. The President said, a stronger South Africa must be safe and secure. The cost of crime is measured in lives lost and futures cut short. It's felt also in the sense of fear that permeates our society and in the reluctance of businesses to invest. Then the President goes on and he talks directly about you. He says the children here in the Western Cape are caught in the crossfire of gang wars. People are chased out of their homes by illegal miners in Kagiso in Gauteng. Women are murdered by their partners in their homes. Building sites are shut down by criminals. This must and will change. Organized crime is now the most immediate threat to our democracy, our society, and our economic development. Our primary focus this year is on stepping up the fight against organized crime and criminal syndicates using technology, intelligence, and integrated law enforcement. We will tackle organized crime by consolidating intelligence at national level, identifying priority syndicates, and deploying hand-picked multidisciplinary intervention teams focused on dismantling criminal networks. The President goes on to say that to strengthen our fight against gang violence, I'm deploying the South African National Defence Force to support the police as we did to great effect with illegal mining. I've directed the Minister of Police and the South African National Defence Force to develop a tactical plan on where our security forces should be deployed within the next few days in the Western Cape and Gauteng to deal with gang violence and illegal mining. As required by the Constitution, I will inform the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces regarding the timing and the place of deployment of our soldiers and what it will cost. We have to act to rid our country of gang violence. Close quote. So, learners and teachers and parents, that is an indication of how seriously our president and our government takes the situation of crime and gang violence in the Western Cape and also specifically here in Mitchell's Plain, which happens to be my constituency. So don't be surprised if in the next few days you see soldiers on your streets. But also know those soldiers are not coming to attack you or to harm you. Those soldiers are coming to support the police, to deal with ruthless and dangerous gangsters. The very gangsters that Mr. Case, your principal here at Princeton, tells me make you afraid to stay after school. It's depriving you of the opportunity to get extra education because you are afraid of walking home alone later in the afternoon and in the evening. That has to stop. And hopefully the deployment of our soldiers will help the police deal with those gangsters. Now, we've come together here today to reaffirm our commitment to protecting children and other vulnerable groups, and also to honor those schools that have shown exemplary leadership in this mission. I would just like to start by outlining what the National Register for Sex Offenders is. Have you heard of the National Register for Sex Offenders? Yes, no, you haven't. So what I'm going to say will hopefully be of some use. The National Register for Sex Offenders was created by law. The register is a record of the names of those who have been found guilty of sexual offenses against children and other vulnerable persons. The National Register seeks to ensure that offenders do not work with children and vulnerable persons. So that register was created specifically to protect you and other vulnerable people in our society. It gives employers, in this case the Department of Education, the right to check that any person being employed, being hired, is fit to work with children and other vulnerable groups. So that means that before someone comes to this school, either to work as a teacher or an administrator or a support person, they have to be checked against the National Register of Sex Offenders. Because we don't want those who have been proven to be sexual offenders against you, the learners at these schools, to be close to you and able to threaten you and to commit those same crimes against you. The purpose of the register is firstly to prevent sex offenders from gaining access to environments where they can harm children or other vulnerable persons. Secondly, it's to ensure that employers can vet individuals before placing them in positions of trust, where they're in contact with children and other vulnerable groups. And thirdly, it's to build a national mechanism that supports safer schools, safer communities, and safer social institutions. Why did we set up that National Sex Offenders Register? Because Parliament recognized the harsh reality that sexual offences often occur within environments of trust: schools, creches, childcare facilities, sports clubs, and so on. A few years later, we amended that legislation to expand the range of persons who can be protected. It was no longer children and persons with mental disabilities only. The word vulnerable, a vulnerable person, now includes females under the age of 25 who are studying at a university or a college and who live in a residence or a dormitory that's linked to that education or training institution. It also includes persons who are being cared for or sheltered in a facility that provides services to victims of crime. It can also be a person with a physical, intellectual, or sensory disability who receives community-based care or is cared for in a facility providing 24-hour care. And finally, it can also include a person who's 60 years or older, like myself, who received community-based care and support services and is cared for in a facility providing 24-hour care to such persons. So those are the vulnerable groups that the Act says, before you can be employed in a position of trust, working with those vulnerable groups, you must be vetted. Someone must go and check whether your name, your ID number, doesn't appear on that national register of sexual offenders. What used to happen in the past, very often, was that a teacher who was a sex offender would commit a crime at one school and be dismissed, only to go and quietly apply to be employed either at another school or at another institution that works with children. The purpose of this register is to make it impossible for people to do that, because wherever they go, they must be checked against the register. But that makes it important also for a school to ensure that all of its staff are properly vetted in terms of the National Register of Sex Offenders. And unfortunately, the importance of the register only continues to increase, because expanding the definition of a vulnerable person to more categories of people demonstrates our commitment as government to strengthening the protections for those who need it most. The Act also gives the registrar of the national, the registrar is the person who is an official who is responsible for keeping the register, the power to delegate certain functions to provinces, and this decentralization has enabled the appointment of provincial National Register of Sexual Offenders registrars who are now conducting vetting and they issue certificates, clearance certificates across the country. Now, today we are here both to tell you about the National Register for Sexual Offenders, why it's important, and what must be done. But we're also here to celebrate the progress that has been made. Now, the vetting process here in the Western Cape includes 369 schools that were successfully vetted for the year ending in 2025. These are 33 schools for learners with special education needs and 336 public schools. There were over 16,000 applications. In fact, to be exact, 16,279 education employees that were submitted for vetting across the province. That's 34% of the education employees in the Western Cape. It means that we've still got a lot of work to do. There are 66% of the employees that still need to be vetted, but 34% is a good start. And I think these numbers are more than just statistics, because they represent thousands of learners who now attend schools where the staff have been thoroughly vetted and where the risk of exposure to sex offenders has been significantly reduced. Some of you may be aware that the department is looking into the possibility of making the National Register of Sexual Offenders accessible to the public. And it's a cry that we've heard coming from parents, from school governing bodies, from NGOs, community organizations. They say it's still, we recognize the improvements, but it's still very difficult to access that register. Open that register up, make it easier for us to be able to check. Now, the Minister Kubai, is very sympathetic to that call. And she has instructed the department to find ways in which we can open up the register whilst still respecting rights in our Constitution that protect privacy, that protect the dignity of people, but at the same time can make it easier to check that register. So one of the things that we've come here to do today is to recognize the good work that has been done by schools here in the Western Cape in vetting all of the employees at those schools. And today we honor 10 schools who have been selected for their leadership, cooperation, and commitment to learner safety. The schools that are being honored are Princeton High School, Cedar Secondary School, Nkocheni Primary School, Spine Road High, Portland Primary School, Masipumalele Primary School, Beacon School, Nolutando School, Agape School, and Kaelicha School. Please give them and yourselves a very, very warm round of applause. These certificates of appreciation are not merely acknowledgements. They are a public affirmation that these schools are prioritizing child protection. They demonstrate that partnership between the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, the Western Cape Education Department, school leadership, school governing bodies, and communities can achieve. Let's be very, very clear. The vetting of education officials is not a bureaucratic exercise. It is a safeguard. It ensures that individuals who stand before our children each day are not only qualified and dedicated, but also free of histories that pose a risk. This work rebuilds trust in our school system. It ensures that parents can send their children to school with confidence, and it strengthens our constitutional commitment to protect, respect, and promote the rights of all learners. And while we celebrate progress, we must also recognize the work ahead. The journey must continue. Our goal remains the same, namely to vet each and every official, be it an educator, an administrative staff member, a person working on the school grounds, at every school, across every district, until no child's safety is left to chance. To the principals and the school teams here today, thank you very much. Your vigilance and cooperation with this process reflect your deep love for the learners. To our National Register of Sexual Offenders, registrars, and the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development staff, you've carried out your mandate with excellence. To our partners across the sectors, your support is essential and appreciated. And to our learners, those who may be attending this event and those who could not attend, you are the reason we are here today. Your safety, your dignity, and your future will always be our utmost priority. Let us continue working together, government, educators, parents, and communities, to build a South Africa where every child is safe and every school is a place of protection, growth, and opportunity. I just want to conclude by, I'm not going to quote the president, but I do want to talk a little bit about what he said, some of the very important things that he said last night. The president concluded the State of the Nation address by talking about the issue of education and skills. Because we recognize that in our country, one of the biggest problems, and opinion survey after opinion survey, public meeting after public meeting tell us the thing that is the highest in the minds of South Africans is unemployment. It's getting jobs. We need to be a nation at work and that works for all. Our unemployment rate is in the region of 30%. When it comes to young people, it goes up even further. It's above 50%. Now, that can't be. It can't be right. Here we are investing in you. You are working hard and diligent, studying. That must be translated in your ability to get a job, to start a business, to be economically active, to support yourselves, to support your parents, to support those you love. And that is why the president has committed us to make a very fundamental change in the way that our education and our skills development system works. To link education and skills development to employment. The president is very, very frustrated because he says that our TVET colleges, our SETAs, those are the sector education and training agencies, they train thousands of people, but all of those thousands of people are still sitting at home. This morning I walked through the school and I asked the principal specifically, I want to go and see those workshops. And I was very, very happy with what I saw. A civil engineering class, I saw your projects, building those containers for gardens. I saw where you had built small walls, bricklaying. I went to the electric workshop and saw all of the plugs and the wires. I went to the automotive workshop. And you know, it really filled my heart with joy, because when we got there, there were already a group of learners standing outside. So the teacher went around, he was showing me, this is a petrol engine, and that's a diesel engine, and this is a turbocharger. And he was telling me how enthusiastic the learners were. And indeed, the more he talked, I could hear the learners were getting restless outside. They're saying, when is class starting? It's not that they were just there because they had to be there. They were really looking forward. And I asked them, the teacher, but how is this going to translate into jobs? And he told me, well, at least fortunately, many of these learners are already working in one way or another, doing little maintenance work on different cars. And I think that's what we need to strengthen, so that you can leave this school confident that there's going to be a job for you, or there's going to be the opportunity for you to start your own business and employ other people. So that is what the President spoke about last night. That is what he's committed government to do. And we wish you very well with your futures and the future of our country. Thank you.
Learners, ladies and gentlemen, parents, we are now at the most important sector. We call forward our Deputy Minister, we call forward the principals and SGB members of the following schools: Princeton High School, Ahape School LSEN, Cedar Secondary School, Beacon School LSEN, Hialeah LSEN, Spine Road High, Portland Primary School, Nkocheni Primary School, Masipumalela Primary School, Nalutando LSEN. Now we're going to go in an order. Deputy Minister, I think you'd rather stand.
Thank you very much. This is what we're going to do now. We will start with the host, Princeton High, and I'm going to ask Mr. Isaacs just be here for me. Next to the DM, Mr. Isaacs. Canal? So as we call your name, dear, you need to be here. We're going to hand over to you. So the first certificate will go to the host, principal, Princeton High. You must shake hands to our colleagues after you received the certificate. Yes. The next school is Cedar. Can we have representatives? And then you come for the shaking of hands. Can I get beacon? The next school, it's Beacon. Thank you. And then the next school, it's Agape. DM Agape, it's a school for children with special needs. Thank you very much. And then the next school is Ekocheni. Thank you very much. Thank you. The next school is Masiphumelele. Thank you very much. The next school will be Portland. The next school is Nolutando. The next school is Kaelicha. And the last school is Spine. Woo! Thank you very much. So, can we get a group photo quickly, DM? With just center, come. This side. Others can be on the stairs and then they can be here. Say Constitution. Okay, thank you very much. Lastly, DM, these are the gifts that you are coming to. but we will not hand them over, we just label them. So afterwards they will, good, okay. Can we just get seated? On behalf of the Department of Justice, we know that one of the challenges that make our children not to come to school is because they don't have the dignity packs. So we have arranged this, especially for our girl child. Each school will receive its packages. So when you leave, when the function is done, you'll see all your boxes will be labeled, others underneath. This is just to show you what we have brought you. Thank you.
Now, okay. We thank you, school principals, SGBV, our parents and our learners for participating in this wonderful ceremony. We have our pledge, which I'd like to call upon the principal of Kaya Leacher Secondary, if they can come forward, please. They're here. Okay, which is our other school? Portland's, well, I just called Kaya Leacher, they didn't come forward. Okay, so Kaya Leacher, if you can stand here, and I'd like you to read out each line of the pledge and your colleagues can recite after you.
Protecting learners, upholding the law. It's a pledge for a safe school environment. We pledge to protect children and vulnerable persons from all forms of sexual abuse, exploitation, and harm. Uphold and comply with the criminal law, sexual offenses, and related matters. Amendment Act of 2021. Ensure that all educators, staff, and persons with access to learners are vetted against the National Register for Sex Offenders. Act responsibly and lawfully when vetting outcomes indicate risks to learner safety. Promote awareness and reporting of sexual offenses and support survivors with dignity and care. Work collaboratively with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development and relevant stakeholders to safeguard our schools. We affirm that the safety of learners is non-negotiable and that schools remain spaces of learning protection, and trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So the schools who are present have taken this pledge to ensure that your scholars, your learners will be protected within the confines of your school. So please give yourselves a round of applause. Today is actually a very historic ceremony. You are a groundbreaking lot of educators and schools, as this is the first time in South Africa that we are having this kind of event. So we will, of course, have other events like this to give certification to the other schools, but know that you were always the first. Well done. We now draw to the close of our event today, and as your provincial registrar for the National Register for Sex Offenders, it heartens me to see that we have made great strides here in the Western Cape. I now call upon Ms. Topsy Musi, who will now render the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Mine, it's a short one to send a message of appreciation to all the participants, the JCPS cluster departments who mainly were our program participants. Thank you very much for your messages. The parents, SGB representatives here, the educators, community leaders, as well as our learners. Thank you very much. I think the most important message to learners that we have heard is that no child should engage in any sexual activity, right? So all of us, we shouldn't. I think that was the emphasis, that it's a criminal offense and we need not distribute any indecent material, particularly on social media, be it videos and pictures, because one thing that we forget is that the internet never forgets. When we are still young and naive, we do certain things, but by the time we grow up and we need to progress in life, in our careers, somebody just pulls that material and you find that now your chances of employment and a better future are limited because of the things that we did then when we were naive. So I think the most important message is that we need to take care, we need to become responsible citizens. And the fact that government does provide support to victims, we have the Department of Social Development, we have SEPS, South African Police, we have the NPA, we also have the Department of Justice, as you can see, to make sure that those that are not supposed to be in close proximity with you are vetted and we are safe, and we are trying to repeat that cycle of making sure that people don't repeat offenses. So I think you have something to take home as well. You can see the school has planned something for Valentine's Day. We are told tomorrow is Valentine's Day. The Constitution says we all have the right to love, but for us, we need to go love our children, we need to love our families, our communities, then we'll have a better world. You have been a beautiful audience. Thank you very much. Give yourselves a round of applause. We are going to request that the people who are on the podium, there will be directed to where they were in the morning. And may we remain seated. We will serve your lunch here as we are sitting. So just give us a few minutes as we do that. The program has come to an end. And thank you very much for the Sterling Work Program Director. Thank you. And school principals, please, the banners that are here, these are pledge banners that you need to take with you. You must remember this pledge that we made. You will put it in your offices there, in your staff rooms, so that you are reminded that this is how you intend to keep the learning environment very safe. Thanks.